hate to be this kind of like, bash it all, capitalism, but fuck capitalism. Why is that thing exclusively on my face?
Because it focused on you automatically.
Oh, on the guy.
You're the face that it's focusing on.
On the point man.
So I've got to make sure that I'm level with you, and then we're good.
I never knew that. Has it always been like that?
When I put it on autofocus, yeah. I feel like auto is, it's fine, but sometimes it can get too locked on someone's face, and then if I'm like leaning forward like this, I'll be really out of focus. I've got to make sure I'm level with you, but then we'll agree.
Yours look great, man.
Oh, we're recording. I actually forgot. I was like,
hello everyone.
We're recording. Is that going to be our intro? Just me explaining.
You heard it here first. The inner workings of I don't even know. You're the man who knows all this stuff. I'll let him explain.
Yeah. I'll do a video on how to focus a camera one day, guys.
He's pretty good at it.
For now, though, we're doing some stories. It's my week this week. We didn't have anything last week. Sorry about that. We're just sort of taking each week as it comes. And this week is me.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So
Danny explained before this video began. Danny explained that if you took everything that he'd ever produced before and it was the tree of life, this story would be the fungi on that tree.
Yeah.
So
like very not related to anything else.
I love that analogy. The analogy.
This is going to be like probably the worst way to pick up the story, but I thought you were like clapping, just going to go start. Just sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say lay it on me, Burke, but then that went like that.
Oh, okay.
So.
I'm about to say it's not for everyone, this story, which is true, but we'll see. We'll see. Really... I've already got a few people in mind in my head who might not like this, but I think you will, which is why I wrote it.
I will, yeah, mate. Let's go. What's the title? If you don't know, we make a big deal about the title.
Okay.
It's coming now.
So the title is Deals, Discounts and Bargains.
Wow.
And this is how it goes.
A big shopper happened upon a big sale at the big store. Outside he met a little browser. "Ah, my sister," said the big shopper. "Are you joining me today in this big sale? I suspect we'll find all sorts of tech deals, discounted clothes and bargain shoes." The little browser looked at the neon sign and then into her money bag. She had but $100 digitally stored to last her until month end. "I would join you," said the little browser, "had I but a little more money. My rent is looming, my bills are long, and I would likely face ruin to scupper what I have set aside." The big shopper laughed and bid her good day. He walked through the plastic arch and into the reduced phone section. The little browser walked on past a big store, past a health and beauty store, past the jewelry store and the French boutique until she arrived at the little food store. She bought her groceries one by one and placed them into her bag for life. On the way home, she walked past the French boutique, past the jewelry store, past the health and beauty store until she came to the big store. It was then that the big shopper stepped out of the big store. In his hand, he had some tech, some clothes, and shoes. "My sister," he cried while pointing at her bags, "you've shopped. What deals did you grab? What discounts did you snatch? What bargains did you seize?" The little browser opened her bag. "My deals were for fruit. I took discounted bread and bargain sugar by the pound." The big shopper let out a hearty laugh. "Do you think they are deals? Do you think they are discounts? Do you think they are bargains? Why, I could buy them tenfold and not spend half as much as I have on my own tech deals, my discount clothes and bargain shoes." The little shopper bowed her head in shame. Although she had spent all but 13 of her dollars, she had been happy with her purchases. "Well, brother, I am happy for your purchases. Although my purchases may be small, they mean the world to me. They are valuable because I cannot live without them." "They are not valuable," scoffed the big shopper. "It is simply that you do not have enough money for the real deals, discounts, and bargains. If you did, you would have joined me today." The big shopper took pity on the little browser and made her a deal. He challenged the little browser to meet him back outside the big store in exactly 1 year and join him for the next big store sale. If she did, he would buy her a tech deal, discount clothing, or a bargain pair of shoes. The little browser agreed. As time moved on, the weather changed. The rains came harder, the storms blew louder, and the water rose faster. A year passed by. The big shopper and the little browser met outside of the big store. "Little sister," cried the big shopper, "I'm glad you came, but I'm afraid I cannot hold up my end of the deal. The tech is more expensive, the clothing and shoes are too, the deals are narrower, the discounts smaller, the bargains are scarce. I have only been able to replace last year's items for myself, with nothing to spare for you." Upon hearing this, the little browser smiled, for she had not met the big shopper so that he would fulfill his offer. "Brother, I have no need for the tech, the clothes, or the shoes. Do you think they are deals? Do you think they are discounts? Do you think they are bargains? Why, I could buy them tenfold and not spend half as much as I have on my fruit deals, discounted bread, and bargain sugar by the pound. Follow me." In the stifling heat, in the pouring rain, in the growing storm, the two walked together. They walked past the big store, past the health and beauty store, past the jewelry store and the French boutique, until they arrived at the little food store. There were crowds outside who jostled and pushed. The little browser took the last of the items she could find, the last fruit, the last bread, the last sugar by the pound. After queuing for an hour, the little browser opened her money bag and spent every last dollar. There were no deals, no discounts, and no bargains. Outside, the big shopper turned to her and wept. "Oh, little sister, I've been a fool. I spent my money on tech and clothes and shoes and have nothing to feed myself. I cannot afford this food now." The little browser took pity on him. "Oh, brother," she said, "this has value because I cannot live without it. As it was then, just as it is now." With that, she divided her purchases and gave the big shopper half on one condition. "Meet me back here in 1 year," she said. "Bring others, bring signs, bring banners. We must find value in what we need to survive. No deals, no discounts, no bargains."
Wow. What's that saying? When the crops die, you will then realise that you can't eat money?
Something like that. Or
Something like
dust
that.
or something. Yeah.
Terribly bad paraphrase.
Something turns to dust or something like that, yeah.
You will then realise that you can't eat money.
Yeah.
It's an old native proverb, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was wonderful. That was delightfully Seussian, very Dr. Seuss-esque. But that was just delightful. I understand exactly what you mean.
It was based on one of my favourite things that I used to read as a kid, which is Aesop's Fables.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's why I said Dr. Seuss. Like, it seemed very kind of like, you know, you're very good at that anyway. Like when Danny and I first met, remember when you just everything you used to write was like allegorical, and it was great. Like you had a lot to say, but you wanted to condense it into a very clever kind of image. It felt like that, but obviously a lot more developed. But yeah, I loved it. I always remember when you can't piss on kittens thing.
I don't even remember that. I remember that. I don't remember what.
I remember this thing that Danny wrote, and there was a line in it. It was like, "Don't piss on kittens."
Yeah, and I don't know why. What
that whole
possibly mean.
That whole piece that you did was like one of these. Anyway, the point is, I feel like you're very wise when you put that Danny hat on to quote another certain Burke. Do you know what I mean?
Explain.
I don't know. You come from it from a very wizened stance, and I like it.
Well,
it feels authoritative, but not in like an overbearing kind of way.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Feels like you're looking at.
But see, that's what I used to love about all of Aesop's little stories, is that every single story had a moral, and in fact, he used to drive it home even harder. His last line, his fables, would normally be literally explaining word for word what the message of the story was.
Yeah.
Like there was no subversive anything. It would finish and it would be like, the moral of the story is, it was like very in your face, but it never felt like it was being shoved down your throat, because of the way it was phrased and the repetition used and his love of using animals. And that's why I think it appeals to children even to this day, those stories, because they all use animals. And I don't know, I just thought there's something really beautiful about teaching morals to kids, timeless morals. But what about timely morals, things that we need to start learning now? You know?
Well, that was my next point. That very much felt like a modern fable, and that is certainly a lesson that we need to be teaching everyone at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hate to be this kind of bash it all, capitalism. But fuck capitalism. We need to have this conversation with the whole shit. Like, people are starving. People need to hear that fable, I think, mate. Good job.
Well, I was thinking about just doing a similar fable thing, but with something a bit more complex, I don't know, or a bit less obvious, but I don't know.
That is a complex issue though, dude, and the fact
it just sort of happened that way, I don't know.
the thing, you didn't make a judgment of anything either. You didn't make a judgment, a sweeping kind of like stance. You acknowledge that it was a thing, a mechanism, and you just illustrated the morals of it. And the moral is, you know, if all you're doing is this, you can't do that. That was all you were saying.
Also, like, for me as well, like, I've realised that I really like, I don't know, like, this might sound a bit pretentious, but like the texture of stories as well. And it's like, it doesn't always have to be about, it can be the experience of listening to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really feel like some of the stuff that I enjoy most listening to, it almost doesn't matter what they're talking about, the person, because the way they talk is just so calming. And so, I don't know, I think as well that's an overlooked thing as well. Like, when we listen to music, it's like not everything has to be like lyrics that are going to every line's going to change your life. Sometimes it's just like, the way that sounds or whatever. And I feel like stories maybe don't really have that as much. Maybe stories have to have great plot, great character, great lines, great chapters, and all that kind of stuff, which is great. I love that. But
I mean, if you look at some of like the
texture, I don't know.
100%. If you look at some of like the skaldic verses and stuff, like the skaldic poets and even sea shanties, like they're all telling stories, right? And they like, that's a good word to sum up. It's the texture of it, right? And they're not like long prosaic Oscar Wilde-esque like sentences. You know, I was reading. You know this Supreme Court case in the UK right now?
Yeah.
Well, QC Panic, who was we should be able to cut this bit.
Do you want us to talk about that after?
There was a barrister, QC Panic, Lord Panic, and someone described his oratory as there was not a complex word used that could have been replaced with a simple word. I thought that's such a great way to speak. Like, why use? There's that saying on the internet. It's like, why use long word when short words?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
I haven't seen that, but
there's a copy pasta. It's just like, why use long word when short word, dude?
Right. Yeah.
But that's obviously not the point of it. It's like the efficiency of language.
I couldn't agree more. Like, I've always like strived in my life to be articulate, but like, just to communicate.
Yes.
I don't like it when people, reach for words that they just don't need to. It's just a bit. I think that actually slows down communication, which is the whole point of language. I feel like there's so many ordinary words, so many ordinary ways of speaking that are so good at what they do.
Yep.
It's survival of the fittest when it comes to language. It's like evolution. Like, these simple phrases and words exist.
It's like planting an idea, and if you could do one word to do it.
Exactly. There's no need, and that's not to say that complex stories and complex words and paragraphs and characters and all that stuff can't do that. I mean, it gives you a lot more opportunity to, like, something like Game of Thrones has about 400 moral lines running through it. It can teach you a lot more, more breadth. But like, if you just got one thing to say, or you just want to give someone a certain feeling, it doesn't have to be complicated. And that's why I like fables and all that stuff.
And that was brilliant. And you translated an idea to my brain and to yours, to your guys' brains. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Stay tuned. Jack is up next at some point.
It's coming out, yeah.
Yeah. I think we might also be having a September or end of September stream. I think we did an end of August one, didn't we?
We did, yes. So
probably the next week or two.
Yes.
Yeah. That should be fun.
That'll be very fun.
Check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And all the usual stuff. Any final words?
What Danny said?
Yeah. That's Jack Finch.
That's Danny Burke. You're watching How Know.
Bye. Leave the fire going as usual.
Oh yeah, we've evolved.
This is the last time I'm going to mention that, I think.